I'm gonna be so real with you guys. I just recorded this entire recap and then I realized I forgot to press record on my microphone. So here we go again. Hello and welcome back to the London Chess Classic Under 2000s, round 6 of the tournament already. It's going very quickly, and I actually am in the fabled outfit repeat of the tournament because I wore this in my last recap, so I didn't actually lie to you guys all those rounds ago when I said there would be an outfit repeat. And I am back in my filming space at the venue, so all is well in the world, all is balanced, and today I played bad chess. But I'm so happy about it, guys, because I had a great time and I won my game. So in today's game, I had the white pieces. And today I'm going to bestow all of my knowledge about going Goblin mode. Going Goblin mode is when you throw all sensibilities out the window and you attack. You make Mikhail sacrifices, which aren't always sound, but you have a great time and you actually enjoy the board game that you spend hours and hours of your life on. So, let's get into the game. So we had a Ruy Lopez, because I put the bishop on that square. And actually, one of this guy's friends came up to me before the game and tried to psych me out, I think, by saying that he had helped the opponent prepare for stuff and that I was really easy to find online. I was like, okay. Like, several people have tried to psych me out in this tournament. Not saying that these people aren't nice, they're being perfectly polite, but they're absolutely trying to psych me out, and it doesn't work. All of my psychological issues with chess come from in here. None of them come from random guys at the tournament saying stuff about preparation. And as we've seen from all of my other rounds, I have plenty of psychological issues around chess. But yeah, they're all to do with my crisis of confidence and my imposter syndrome. Today, I decided that we had to put that behind us and we had to play a fun game of chess. Because yesterday I was sitting at the board and I was just having a miserable time from like move 4 when my opponent transposed into a Catalan. If you haven't seen that video, honestly probably don't watch it because I was so upset. But today I decided that wasn't going to happen. And a lot of you will be thinking, the Ruy Lopez is not a fun opening. What do you mean fun chess? And I was like, yes, I actually love the Ruy Lopez. It's my favorite opening. So we have very normal Ruy Lopez stuff. I play d3 to cut out the marshal, to cut out lots of random theory, to cut out the open Spanish, whatever. And we have everything very normal. And c3. Always c3. And, you know, a lot of Ruy Lopez games that I've had, I've played like an early a4. I've played an early h3. That's not the pawn, an early h3. And I was like, I don't need to do that because actually sometimes I do just get into like an annoying position by engaging on the queen side. And I was like, I don't want to engage on the queen side today. And yeah, I thought if my opponent played d5 here, I was like, okay, I just take. And I thought this was fine, just play rook e1. So I didn't play that because that didn't happen. And my opponent just played dh6, stop my bishop coming out. This bishop is never coming to that square, so you don't need to worry about it. And a rook e1, and now d6. Okay, so this is like a very standard Ruy Lopez position. Like, very basic. You can reach many Ruy Lopez positions from many move orders. It's never super, super critical as white which move order you play. Like, I could have a knight on d2 right now if I wanted. I could have a pawn on a4. I could have a pawn on h3. Like, it wouldn't make that big of a difference unless you're a grandmaster. But basically what I wanted to do was I wanted to play in the center because in a lot of my over-the-board Ruy Lopez games, I have neglected to actually push d4. And sometimes I need to remind myself that the entire point of the Ruy Lopez is to just put 2 pawns in the middle of the board. Now I have 2 pawns in the middle of the board. I've completed the opening. I can go home. So here my opponent played knight a5, and I can win a pawn if I want to by taking here, trading the queens, and taking this pawn. I'm not going to do that. Why? Because I love my bishop. I love the bishop pair. And then I have these kind of stinky double pawns and they actually kind of have a lot of activity with their bishop pair. So I didn't go for this. And I played bishop c2 and I saved my bishop pair because I care about my bishops. Okay? If you're new here, we're bishop pair people. My opponent started to be a little bit concerned about losing this pawn. So he played a very natural move, bishop g4. Bishop g4, pinning the knight, meaning that I can't win the pawn. Except if I trade in the middle and trade queens, then I can win the pawn. And I save the bishop. So that's the difference here, is that black doesn't get the bishop. So I was okay with going into this line. And my opponent played the best move, which is bishop takes f3. And I was very, very happy to see this because then I retain the bishop pair. So we have clarified in the center, which is not something we always want to do, but we've gained the bishop pair in the process, and we have an active queen on f3, so we have a good position. And I thought I had quite a few good moves here. I thought rook d1 was probably not a terrible move, but I thought it was unnecessary. I thought maybe queen f5 and just attacking this was a good move, but I don't really want to play it because I still have pieces that are undeveloped. I thought h3 was possible. Like, I thought lots of moves were possible. I was more thinking about h3 because of, like, if this kind of thing happened and they wanted to try and trade off the queen, then like a little well-timed h3 could be good. But it wasn't necessary because I just developed my knight, which I think is the best move in this position. And now c5, I thought this was very normal play from black. Here I probably should just play knight f1 and continue my development, get a knight on f5 and win the game with checkmate. But I was a little bit concerned because I thought that after knight f1, maybe like b4 looked slightly annoying. And in Maya, in my last tournament, there was a game where I let my opponent in the Ruy Lopez get a little bit too much activity on the queen side. And it's just kind of lucky that I won that game. It was the game with 2 rook sacrifices, but he could have equalized by having some activity on the queen side. So I was like, I don't really want to give activity on the queen side in this game. And so I played b3, which the engine really doesn't like. But I basically thought that whatever they play here, I can now actually just ignore any pawn push. I just thought this was like, I can just ignore it and play knight f1. And I thought like it was a slightly more difficult to ignore if I didn't. Also, yes, here I have the move queen g3. And I'm attacking this pawn. And I have ideas to bring the knight, bring the bishop, bishop h6, pin ideas. But she kind of didn't really consider this idea until after I'd played my bad b3 move. So my bad b3 move gave way to the enlightenment of the queen g3 idea. And that's not a bad thing. My opponent played rook b8, and I guess he was just planning on trying to open up the queen side, but I think that this move is a bit too slow, and I don't really think it helps them. I actually thought maybe rook e8 and just trying to play for a bishop to f8 and try to safeguard his king was probably better because I felt like I had the brewings of an attack. So in my brewings of an attack, it involves bringing the knight over to the king side, of course, and opening up this bishop to h6. And here I thought I was going to play queen g3. After this strange move, like before this strange move, I was thinking of queen g3 anyway. But here I thought maybe this was slightly annoying. And I wasn't sure how he felt about giving all this tempo on the rook. Apparently here I can just play queen c5. I don't know. I guess I just lose a lot of tempi. And they seem very active. Yes, I gained 2 pawns. They seem super active though. If we look at my previous games, we know I hate being up a pawn. So here, instead of playing queen g3, I decided there are a few options you have in life, a few ideas you have in life. I considered cycling this knight through e3, through g3, whatever. But this knight is coming here to g5, and I was like, that's kind of inconvenient that the knight is coming to g5. It's like mildly inconvenient. Yes, I could probably kick it away very soon with an idea like h4, but it's like mildly inconvenient. So I decided now is the time to go goblin mode. So, goblin mode, bishop takes h6. This sacrifice is not actually that absurd. You can see that it's only minus 0.78 to be down an entire piece. So yes, okay, we get a little pawn, 2 pawns for it. And okay, Stockfish hates my continuation. Queen f5 apparently is best continuation, but I just thought after queen c8 that, like, I don't know, black looks pretty safe here. But yeah, I guess I retain this pawn. So in my line, I don't retain the c pawn. And here instead we have this knight d1, a tempo on the queen, and then rook e3. So for the cost of the c3 pawn, I now have 2 extremely active rooks. So there's going to be a queen trade either way probably. But I had super active rooks and I'm going to bring the pieces. That was my plan. I thought that this was actually fine. Stockfish doesn't like it as much, but I think practically speaking, I think it's a fun position to play. And the main difference between this game and some of the other games I've had in this position is that I didn't want to die at any points in this game, so that's always nice. And so here I actually considered e5, which is the best move, and they can't really take, I don't think, because of, I thought queen takes h6, but apparently there's f5 here, so maybe they can. I thought this looked kind of spooky, but okay. I thought maybe that worked, but I thought maybe I was giving away too much material. So I just went for this plan instead, and I thought, okay, I have active pieces, and I had played rook e3 with the anticipation of bishop d4 so that I could play rook to h3. And now I've got super active pieces and I'm pretty happy. Black should have played knight takes g5 instead of pawn takes g5, because then it's more challenging to have this activity. Like, I have to put the rook somewhere else. And now, like, I'm not getting as much compensation. But my opponent played pawn takes, which is very natural because you want to reconnect your pawns. You don't want two isolated pawns. So I totally get why they did that. But now I just have a very fun position. And my opponent immediately made a mistake. And that's what I mean about these positions being like, okay, Stockfish can hold against me, but can like a regular club player hold against me? And that's the difference, is I get the attack and I get to be in the driver's seat and I get to have fun. So this was like a very easy to play move. Knight g3 to f5 is coming. As you can see, I'm not in time trouble in this game for the first time in my life. Bishop e5 is apparently the best move, which is what my opponent played. And I guess it's just removing any e5 ideas, which does make a lot of sense because the bishop is very annoying. But I thought here that now I just have the active rook again. So I gave the check, and I thought that if the opponent went to like g8, position looks all right, maybe I can just play for like bringing the rooks for a rook lift. Maybe not, because then they bring this one here. Or maybe this move, or maybe like this move, or something like that. Or maybe even this move with the check. And this is probably the time when I would have spent a while calculating. Actually, Stockfish says that the best move is king to h8, which I thought seemed a little bit less intuitive because it keeps the king on this file, but I guess it's good. I thought maybe here I also had, rook d5 ideas, or like rook wherever ideas. My opponent said that he thought if I'd play like rook d5, then he could play something like this, and I was like, I think you're getting checkmated here. This looked really scary. But my opponent actually blundered mate with king g6, and I was very confused. Like, I was like, oh, I get to go home, I get to have dinner. And I was very happy to have this checkmate, obviously. My opponent just missed that the knight was covering this, and he thought that he could repeat the position, basically, or something, is what he said in analysis. Which, knights are tricky. I have hung mate before. I hung mate in 2 in my last tournament. Yeah, I didn't play principled chess for a lot of this, but I did have such a fun time. And when I decided to play the bishop takes h6 sacrifice, knowing that it potentially wasn't sound, what I thought was, well, whatever happens in this game, I've had a fun game. And that was very important to me. So thankfully I did win this game, and I got to play an attack, and now I've won 2 attacking games in this tournament. And I don't usually play chess like this. Like, I am kind of an aggressive player these days, but I don't usually play Goblin mode chess. And I wouldn't recommend playing Goblin mode chess unless you're in need of like a dire psychological pick-me-up like I was. And sometimes you just need to play a game that feels a little bit like a blitz game. And sometimes it works out, so we win today. We take those. We have a rest day tomorrow. I'm very happy going into the rest day on a win, even though I don't get any points from this win because my opponent was unrated. So I'm losing lots of points in this tournament because I have losses against rated players and wins against unrated players. But I am now having fun again, which is very, very important. So I'm now very, very happy going into tomorrow's rest day. I come back on Thursday with 3 rounds to go. I'm now on 2.5 out of 6, which means I can still make 50% potentially. And I would be happy with that. I hope you enjoyed this recap. I hope you enjoyed learning about Goblin mode chess. You should try it sometime, but probably not when it's actually important. And probably not when your happiness depends on winning a chess game, but sometimes it's nice to play like Mikhail. And I think bishop takes h6 and this kind of attacking chess is a little bit Mikhail. So I think you would be proud of me. I will see you guys in the next recap for round 7. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Bye guys.